The story of the Old West is often dominated by tales of the American spirit taming the wild lands. But a factor often overlooked in this narrative are the Native American peoples who already occupied the land and had done so for centuries. From their perspective, the arrival of Spaniards and then the Americans was an invasion not just against their land, but against their very identity and culture, and many of them chose to resist. For this reason, the Native American population has often been perceived as the enemy in tales of the West, who stand in the way of progress, a trait inherited from the opinions of the first American settlers who viewed them as inferior savages. However, as the American government increased their program of restriction on Native American tribes, forcing many of them to resist violently, American military leaders would quickly learn to respect their native foes. The 19th century would produce a series of skilled war leaders against the North American tribes who fought back against the white settlers, who were pillaging their lands themselves. Many of these leaders' names would become ingrained in American culture and language, such as Geronimo. Geronimo, birth name Goyakla, was part of the Apache tribe residing in modern-day Arizona when his wife and 3 children were butchered by Mexican troops. Swearing revenge, he waged a military campaign against white settlers where his courage and tenacity became legend across the continent. Against Mexican and American troops, he was known to charge into battle wielding only a knife against a hail of bullets, and he was soon labeled the worst Native American to ever live. Despite many battles, Geronimo survived, but was ultimately forced to surrender to U.S. troops on September 4, 1886, something he later regretted, confiding in family that he should have kept fighting until he was killed. Another great Native war leader was Red Cloud of the Oglala Lakota Sioux in Nebraska. In 1866, Red Cloud found himself leading his tribe in a bloody and brutal war against the U.S. Army that is now remembered as Red Cloud's War. By the war's conclusion, Red Cloud had defeated the U.S. Army and established control over swaths of territories in Wyoming and Montana. Red Cloud negotiated with the U.S. government for his tribe to retain ownership of the Black Hills in the peace talks, which the U.S. granted. However, Red Cloud's victory was short-lived, and when gold was discovered in the region, white settlers ignored the agreement and moved in, establishing Deadwood, among other locales. Such disregard for agreements made in good faith led to renewed hostilities, and in 1876, the Great Sioux War erupted.